You're not afraid of being alone. You're afraid of what silence will reveal. But here's the truth. Your mind doesn't break in solitude. It breaks in noise. And solitude is the only place it learns to stand again. Still, breathe once. The world has conditioned you to treat silence like danger, to fill every quiet second with stimulation, conversations, notifications, anything to avoid meeting yourself. But noise doesn't protect you. Noise weakens you. It scatters your attention, fragments your thoughts, and pulls you away from the one place strength is rebuilt, your own mind. Most people are drowning in constant input. Their brain never shuts down long enough to recalibrate. But you cannot grow without cycles of renewal. You cannot think clearly while reacting constantly. You cannot hear your own direction while the world is shouting. Solitude isn't isolation. It's restoration. Still, the Stoics knew this centuries before neuroscience proved it. They stepped away from the crowd not to escape life, but to understand it. Modern science now shows why. When you're alone, your brain's default mode network activates the system that handles introspection, identity, memory, and deep problem solving. Solitude turns the mind inward, and inward is where strength is rebuilt. But here's the real reason people run from solitude, not because it's empty, but because it's honest. In silence, the truth surfaces, the things you avoided, the choices you postponed, the emotions you buried, the identity you neglected. Noise hides all of that. Solitude exposes it. And exposure is uncomfortable, but discomfort is not damage. Discomfort is the beginning of depth. Still, a mind addicted to noise becomes dependent on stimulation to feel alive, dependent on others to feel secure, dependent on the world to tell it who it is. A mind trained in solitude becomes sovereign, self-led, self-aware, self-directed. When you are alone, you stop performing, you stop negotiating who you are, you stop trying to match the expectations of the room. Every mask falls, every distraction dissolves, and what remains is the raw truth of you. That truth, that's the foundation you rebuild from. Most people spend their lives trapped in mental fog created by noise, comparison, overstimulation, and endless distraction. They move, but without clarity. They think, but without depth. They choose, but without conviction. Then they wonder why they feel lost. Solitude is how you exit the fog. It's the moment you step out of the world's frequency and tune back into your own. But at first, solitude feels uncomfortable. The mind resists. You'll reach for your phone, you'll crave distraction, you'll feel restless. That restlessness is withdrawal from noise addiction. But stay through it, and something begins to shift. The thoughts that were chaotic start to organize. The problems that felt overwhelming simplify. The emotions you buried begin to release. Your intuition, silent for so long, rises back to the surface. This is the reset your brain has been begging for. Still, solitude teaches you a lesson noise never will. You are capable on your own. Your mind can support itself. Your stability is internal. Your direction is self-chosen. Your peace is self-generated. And once you've built strength in solitude, you walk back into the world differently. You're not shaken by noise. You're not swayed by crowds. You're not pulled by impulses. Because you've built a center that chaos can't touch. Confidence doesn't come from attention. It comes from internal alignment. Strength doesn't come from company. It comes from clarity. Power doesn't come from being surrounded. It comes from being lead. Alone is where you reclaim that power. Still, if you feel mentally fragile, emotionally scattered, or spiritually drained, you don't need more stimulation. You need space. Space to think. Space to feel. Space to reset. It's space to hear the version of you that gets silenced in noise. Even a few minutes of solitude a day begins rebuilding your mental structure. 10 minutes without distraction trains your brain to operate without chaos. 10 minutes alone teaches your nervous system safety without stimulation. That's not isolation, that's neural strengthening. Solitude is not disconnection from the world, it's reconnection to yourself. And without that reconnection, nothing else stays stable, not your focus, not your discipline, not your identity. Because a mind constantly surrounded by noise will always feel hollow, but a mind rebuilt in solitude cannot be broken by noise still. So take one moment today, just one, to be alone on purpose. No screen, no music, no conversation, just you, your breath, your thoughts, your truth. At first the quiet feels like a void, but stay long enough and it becomes a doorway back to strength, back to clarity, back to yourself. Because your mind doesn't break in solitude, it breaks in noise, and it rebuilds the moment you allow silence to do its work. Still lead, become,